One day, as the boy entered the school restroom, 3 troublemaking students suddenly pinned him to the ground. Just then, roars echoed through the air, and amidst everyone's fearful gaze, a cheetah appeared before them. Fortunately, the cheetah didn't harm them. It was the boy's pet. 6 months earlier, the young cheetah lived with its mother on the African savanna. One day, their peace was shattered by 2 male lions. In terror, the cheetah cub watched as its mother was killed by the lions. Since then, the cub became an orphan, wandering aimlessly, unaware and innocent. The cub wandered onto a highway. Yasuo and his father happened to pass by that night and narrowly avoided hitting it. To protect it from other vehicles, Yasuo brought the cub home and named it Duma. Duma quickly adapted to farm life, wandering the fields and resting in the hen's nest when tired. As Duma grew, Yasuo's father explained that Duma didn't belong here and needed to return to his rightful place on the savanna. To toughen him up, they drove Duma daily. With each run, Duma regained his title as the fastest, but Yasuo grew increasingly reluctant to part with him. Duma also says something significant approaching. Sure enough, early the next morning, Yasuo was awakened by sirens. His mother informed him that his father had suddenly fallen ill and passed away despite efforts at the hospital. Under pressure to make ends meet, Yasuo's mother rented out the farm and found work. Yasuo was sent to live with his aunt, attending school during the day while Duma stayed with his aunt. Feeling incredibly bored, Duma played with a remote control and accidentally turned on the TV, startling himself with an animated show. Startled, he jumped onto the table, roaring and frightening Yasuo's aunt, who fled the house, leaving the door open for Duma to escape. Duma somehow found Yasuo's school and caught his attention through the window, inadvertently causing a misunderstanding with a female classmate who flirted with Yasuo. Just then, the school alarm rang, and students rushed out of the classroom, including Yasuo, who saw police arriving. Realizing they were there for Duma, suddenly, a figure darted past, and Yasuo found himself surrounded by the 3 troublemaking students in the restroom, leading to the earlier scene. Seeing the wild beast from the savanna, the students fled in terror. Yasuo quietly took Duma out of school through a back door, heading to a hill behind the school. Looking out at the city dominated by steel and concrete, he finally realized that Duma truly didn't belong here. Back home, he visited his father's grave and left a note for his mother before riding off on a motorcycle with Duma, heading back to the African savanna, speeding across desert roads. However, they ran out of fuel not far from their starting point. Unable to continue, Yasuo pushed the motorcycle slowly. After a while, they stumbled upon the wreckage of an airplane. That night, they slept together in the wilderness for the first time. Early the next morning, before dawn, Yasuo heard someone trying to start the motorcycle. It turned out to be a passerby, who coincidentally was heading in the same direction. Yasuo struck a deal with him for water. After drinking, Yasuo had an idea and modified the motorcycle, attaching a piece of motorcycle to harness the wind's power, successfully picking up speed. Soon, they escaped the dry region, and the passerby found a water source as promised. But water alone wasn't enough. They desperately needed food. A herd of ostriches caught their eye, and Duma swiftly chased after one. Though unsuccessful, Duma discovered several ostrich eggs. With this discovery, they temporarily solved their hunger problem. However, the passerby had ulterior motives and suggested selling Duma for a profit, which Yasuo immediately rejected, citing Duma as his best friend. Hearing this, the passerby temporarily dropped the idea. Meanwhile, Yasuo had been away for 3 days, causing great worry for his mother, who caused numerous flyers to find him. Returning to the desert, the passerby intentionally led Yasuo astray. Just then, the sound of a helicopter echoed from the sky. The passerby quickly urged them to hide in ruins to avoid Yasuo being found and taken away. The person in the helicopter turned out to be Yasuo's mother, who had traced his route all the way. Yasuo wanted to peek out but was forcefully pulled back by the passerby, realizing then that the passerby was not a good person. From that moment, he sought an opportunity to sneak away with Duma, fearing what the passerby might do. Another night passed behind the ruins. The passerby discovered an abandoned diamond mine. The passerby thought he could get rich if he found a few large diamonds. While the passerby went inside, Yasuo found the perfect chance to escape. He sped away with Duma, but before they could get far, there was a loud noise from the cave-in. Kind-hearted Yasuo rushed in to rescue the passerby. Cleverly, Yasuo dug the passerby out halfway, then left the shovel aside, letting him deal with the rest. Yasuo had to rely on himself to get Duma back on the right track. With the road ahead rugged and tough, the motorcycle was abandoned on the spot. To reach their destination faster, Yasuo decided to travel by water. He tore cloth into strips, crafted a makeshift raft with branches and sticks. However, Yasuo didn't realize the river was perilous. Sensing danger, Duma anxiously swam, while his oblivious master pushed the raft towards the lake. Under pressure, Duma reluctantly boarded the boat with his master. Yasuo remained unaware of the impending danger. As soon as the raft reached the middle of the lake, crocodiles from the shore sprang into action, and the boy was ready to go to bed. At this moment, something even worse happened. They encountered a lot of peach, and before they could react, the raft was torn apart. Yasuo and Duma all fell into the water, and crocodiles were already quietly approaching his feet. Yasuo could only wield his spear, darting frantically through the water. Cheetah Duma also struggled to swim desperately, but fortunately, they narrowly made it ashore in the end. However, their dangers were far from over. They were soon targeted by a herd of wild buffalo. To avoid the brutal charges of the buffaloes, Yasuo hid in the bushes and lay low, but he suddenly realized Duma was nowhere to be seen. After this ordeal, they became separated. In this water-rich area, it was a gathering place for various fierce beasts, lions, hyenas, even elephants. Each posed a deadly threat to Yasuo. Meanwhile, Duma unwittingly walked into a poacher's trap and was immediately locked in a cage. Yasuo, in his search for Duma, accidentally trespassed into a wild boar's territory. He had to quickly climb a tree and stay perfectly still. When there was finally no movement below the tree, he climbed down, only to realize the wild boar had gone far. In the darkness, he had to continue running in panic and accidentally fell unconscious on the ground. When he woke up again, nearby were passersby and Duma. The passersby had followed out of conscience and successfully rescued Duma from the trap and Yasuo from the wild boar's den. Yasuo realized he had misjudged the passersby and promptly apologized. The passersby didn't blame him, knowing he had initially harbored ill intentions towards them. They hadn't eaten for days, and now, spotting two antelopes, Duma quickly dashed out to secure their dinner. However, Duma had no hunting experience and failed to even catch a single antelope's fur. Helpless, they continued starving and journeying on. Halfway through, they discovered an antelope carcass left by lions. Duma immediately laid down and began devouring it voraciously. When Yasuo wanted to share some, Duma instinctively growled, revealing his wild nature, which the passersby explained was intrinsic to him. Yasuo suddenly understood the time for them to part ways was approaching. At night, Duma suddenly roared towards a nearby direction. Looking over, Yasuo saw a pride of lions eyeing them. The passersby said making a fire could deter lion attacks, but just then, rain began falling, making it impossible to start one. At that critical moment, the passersby took out their few remaining bills and successfully lit a fire. Although this temporarily stopped the lion attack, it wasn't a long-term solution. To seek help, Yasuo disregarded the danger and sprinted alone towards a village with lights. The nearby lion pride noticed him and swiftly chased after him. Fortunately, in this moment of crisis, Duma appeared in time. Using his speed and agility, he successfully diverted the lion's attention, allowing Yasuo to find help from the local villagers and escape the danger. Meanwhile, Duma found true love. Finally, Yasuo arrived on the grasslands and called out for Duma as usual. He saw Duma and his mate running on the grasslands and successfully hunting down an antelope together. Yasuo knew that this time, Duma had truly found his own paradise. Yasuo watched from a distance, thoughtful. He lay down on the ground, reminiscing about every moment he had spent with Duma. After a while, Duma traversed the bushes and came to Yasuo again. Yasuo gently stroked him and bid him a final farewell. Though very reluctant, Yasuo knew this place was truly the best home for Duma.